They say danger has a smell. Cedar. Darkness. And something that gets under your skin and refuses to leave. I learned that at midnight, in a hallway I had no business being in, wearing lace that suddenly felt like a confession. He looked at me the way storms look at open water, like I was something to be consumed, not saved. And then he said it. If you provoke me like that again, I don't know if I'll continue being a gentleman. 7 words. That's all it took to turn my entire world upside down. My name is Helena Alves. 20 years old. Education major. Dean's List. 3 professors who would vouch for my work ethic, and absolutely none of them who could have prepared me for this. I grew up in small apartments with thin walls and big dreams. I eat ramen when money is tight, share a mattress situation that could generously be called roommate living, and I have never, not once in my life, stood inside a house with marble floors and ceilings so high my voice echoes back to me like a stranger. I am not the girl who belongs in mansions. And yet here I am. I shouldn't be in this hallway. Not at midnight. Not wearing this. The nightgown had seemed perfectly innocent when I slipped it on, delicate ivory lace, something Mrs. Rosa had left on my bed when I finally, reluctantly, accepted the offer to stay in the guest room. It's impractical to commute every day, I told myself. That was the practical reason. The honest reason? I'd started to love it here in a way that frightened me. But right now, standing 3 steps from the kitchen with my heart in my throat, I deeply regret every decision that led to this moment. Because he is here. Dante Valente. Walking down the opposite end of the corridor like he owns the night itself. Because in every way that matters, he does. Dark suit. Tie loosened just enough to suggest the day had been long and merciless. Hair pushed back from a face that belongs on the cover of something powerful and dangerous and beautiful. He stops when he sees me. His eyes move, slow, deliberate, unhurried, from my face, to the thin strap on my shoulder, to the lace hem that barely grazes my mid-thigh, and back up. The air changes. It thickens. Helena. My name sounds different in his mouth. Lower. Like a secret he didn't intend to say out loud. What are you doing out here? Water. I manage. I just wanted water. He moves closer. Not fast. Something more unsettling than fast. Measured. Like a man who has decided something and is simply walking toward it. Walking around my house dressed like that. Heat floods my face. It's just a nightgown. It's lace. He's in front of me now. Too close. Close enough that I can smell his cologne, cedar, and something darker underneath, something I have no name for. And practically transparent. It's not. I look down. The hallway light is behind me. Oh no. Oh no. His hand comes up and I think, he's going to touch me. Instead, it lands on the wall beside my head. Caging me without touching me. Somehow that's worse. Do you have any idea how many men are in this house right now? Your security team. Exactly. His other hand rises, 2 fingers, gentle but certain, tilting my chin up until my eyes have nowhere to go but his. Men who work for me. Men who would never dare. But you're making it very difficult for them to remember that. My heart is hammering so loud I'm certain he can hear it. I'm sorry. I didn't mean. Didn't mean what? His eyes are so dark. Didn't mean to walk around looking like that. Didn't mean to make me forget every rule I've set for myself about you. I can't breathe. What rules? The ones that say you're off limits. That you're here for Luca. That I don't touch innocent girls who don't know what they're walking into. I'm not. My voice is barely a whisper. I'm 20 years old. His thumb brushes my jaw. 20. Something crosses his face, something that looks almost like pain. Young enough that I should walk away right now. But you're not walking away. No. The word is rough. Reluctant. Like an admission pulled from somewhere deep. I'm not. We stand there suspended, his hand on the wall, his fingers on my chin, my back pressed against wallpaper that probably costs more than my tuition, and the whole world narrows to the space between us. Then he speaks again, and his voice is low and slow and lethal. "If you provoke me like this again." A brief, dangerous smile crosses his lips. "I don't know if I'll continue being a gentleman." My mouth goes dry. "But I didn't do anything." "Exactly." He leans forward until his breath is warm against my ear. "You don't have to do anything, Helena. You just exist in my space." And suddenly every rule I've lived by for 30 years stops making sense. A beat of silence. "Go back to your room." His voice is steel now, under all that velvet. "Before I do something we'll both regret." Would you regret it? The question hangs between us, dangerous and trembling. His eyes hold mine for one long, breathless moment. No. That's the problem. Then he drops his hands, steps back, creates distance I should feel grateful for, but somehow only resent. "Go." Not a request. I go. But I feel his eyes on me the entire walk down that hallway, and when I close my bedroom door and lean against it, heart still racing, skin still burning where his fingers had been, only one thought consumes me. What just happened? Let me take you back. Because every story worth telling has a moment before the moment, a quiet, ordinary Tuesday that planted the seed for everything that follows. Mine was ramen noodles, a cracked phone screen, and an ad that couldn't possibly be real. 3 months before that hallway. I'm sitting cross-legged on my mattress, which takes up approximately 70% of my bedroom floor, eating ramen from the pot because I own exactly one bowl and it's being used as a mixing container for Sophie's late-night art project. Family seeks responsible young woman for academic support and daily routine assistance for teenage boy. Generous compensation. Room and board included if desired. The salary listed makes me read it 3 times. It's a scam, Sophie says without looking up from her canvas. Or a trafficking ring. I've seen documentaries. Maybe they just really care about education. Or maybe, she waggles her paintbrush at me, sugar daddy situation. I throw a pillow at her. But later, alone, I call the number. A woman answers. Professional, efficient, brisk. She asks about my qualifications. I give them: education major, dean's list, tutoring experience, 3 professors who would take my calls on a Sunday. She doesn't seem particularly impressed. "Can you start next week? Don't you want to interview me first? Mr. Valente reviewed your application. He's satisfied with your credentials." Mr. Valente. The name means nothing to me. A stranger who looked at my life on paper and decided I was enough. Something about that cracks me open just slightly. "I'll do it," I say. Monday morning, a black town car appears outside my building. Sophie watches from the window with her arms crossed and genuine concern on her face. "If you disappear, I'm telling the police everything." "You don't know anything." "I'll make stuff up. Very dramatic stuff." The driver is professional, silent, and opens my door without smiling. We drive for 40 minutes out of the city, into hills I've only seen in magazines, past houses that look like museums, past iron gates that slide open without a sound. And then I see it. White stone. 3 stories. Columns. Gardens that seem to exhale wealth with every perfectly trimmed hedge. Holy, I breathe. The driver's lips twitch. First expression I've seen. Mrs. Rosa greets me at the entrance. 50-something, elegant, the kind of woman who has managed chaos so long she's become its calm center. She shakes my hand with both of hers and tells me I'll adjust. She shows me through rooms I have no names for. A library with books floor to ceiling. A kitchen built for a restaurant. A music room with a grand piano that no one plays. Their father built this house for a big family, she says quietly, pausing at the piano. He didn't get to see it filled the way he imagined. Something in my chest aches at that. And then I hear footsteps. Not Mrs. Rosa's heels. These are heavier. Measured. Controlled. The footsteps of someone who has never had to rush for anything in their life. I turn. Dante Valente stands in the doorway like a man who has forgotten that the rest of the world exists. 30-something. Dark suit, tailored to a precision that suggests someone cared very much about every detail. Eyes that find me in 3 seconds and assess me in 2. You're the tutor. Not a question. Yes.
Helena Alves.
I extend my hand. He looks at it, just briefly, just enough to make me wonder, then takes it. Firm. Brief. And somehow the absence of his grip is more present than the grip itself. You look young. I'm 20. But my credentials. I read them. He steps into the room, filling it differently than anyone else has. You're qualified. What I need to know is whether you can handle Luca. Handle him. He's been through a lot. Something shifts in his voice. Careful, but not careful enough. Lost his father 6 months ago. Stopped doing homework. Stopped caring about school. I need someone who won't give up on him. The pain is hidden carefully behind professionalism. But I hear it. I won't give up on him. Everyone says that. I mean it. I hold his gaze. I lost my dad when I was 12. I know what it's like, how school feels pointless. How nothing matters. I pause. I also know that having someone who shows up every day makes a difference. Even when it doesn't feel like it. Something shifts in his expression. Quiet. Seismic. You lost your father. Yes. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about yours, too. 2 strangers. Connected by grief across a desk in a library that smells of old paper and expensive silence. He nods once. Luca will be home at 3. Don't let him charm you into skipping work. He's very good at that. I'll manage. We'll see. He's nearly at the door when he pauses. Room and board are included if you want them. Saves the commute. I have an apartment. That you share with 2 other girls in a space meant for 1. He says it without judgment. Matter of fact. I did a background check. It's not a commentary. The offer stands. He did a background check. I protect what's mine, he says, reading my expression. Luca is mine to protect. Anyone in his life gets vetted. He straightens his cuffs. Welcome to the family, Miss Alves. And then he's gone. And I'm standing in this enormous, beautiful, grief-soaked house, with a strange and certain feeling that my life has just quietly pivoted on a hinge I didn't see coming. Luca arrives at 3:15. Lanky, sullen, backpack dragging, teenage misery wrapped in a school uniform. You're the new tutor. He drops into a chair. Great. Another person Dante hired to fix me. I'm not here to fix you. He looks up. Surprised. I'm here to help you not fail sophomore year. Whether you want help is up to you. You're not going to give me a speech about potential. Nope. Or tell me my dad would want me to try harder. Pain flashes raw across his face. Nope. I pull out my planner. I'm just going to show up every day and do my job. If you decide to do yours, great. If not, I still get paid. A smile pulls at the corner of his mouth. Dante's going to hate that answer. Your brother doesn't have to like my methods. Just my results. Luca looks at me for a long moment. You're different than the last 3. I didn't know there had been 3. But I was starting to understand something. This family wasn't looking for a tutor. They were looking for someone who would stay. And somewhere between the ramen and the marble floors, between the grief in Dante's eyes and the cautious grin on Luca's face, I was starting to think I might. After the hallway. After the office. After the Italian pronunciation lesson where he said amore against my ear like a quiet detonation. I knew I was in trouble. Not the dangerous kind. Or maybe exactly the dangerous kind. I couldn't tell anymore. What I knew was this. Dante Valente had built walls around himself the way other men build empires. Methodically. Deliberately. Brick by brick, over years of grief and responsibility and a business that required him to be untouchable. And I was making those walls inconvenient. It's a Friday evening when it all breaks open. Men in expensive suits arrive at 7. They file into Dante's office like a procession, and the door closes with a weight that feels permanent. Mrs. Rosa appears at my shoulder. "Don't go near that hallway tonight." Her voice is low, serious in a way she usually isn't. "Whatever's happening in that room, you don't want to know about it." "What kind of business is he in?" I ask, because I'm 20 and foolish and I've started to care about him in ways I can't compartmentalize anymore. She looks at me for a long moment. The kind where questions get people hurt. She squeezes my hand. "You're good for him, Helena. For both of them. Don't ruin it by being curious about the wrong things." I go to my room. I try to read. Then I hear raised voices. Then something crashes. Then silence. And I am already in the hallway before the rational part of my brain can object. I creep toward the top of the stairs. Dante's voice carries up clear and cold as January. "I don't care what Romano wants. The answer is no. He won't accept that. Then he'll learn to." His tone could strip paint from walls. "I don't negotiate with threats. Tell him if he tries again." He stops mid-sentence. "Helena." My heart drops through the floor. He appears at the bottom of the stairs alone now, looking up at me. Tie loosened. Something in his expression I can't name, half fury, half something that looks terrifyingly like relief. "Come down." Not a request. Never a request with him. I come down. He walks me into the library without touching me, closes the door behind us, and then turns and looks at me the way people look at problems they can't solve. "How much did you hear?" "Not much," I say honestly. "Just a name. Romano." Something moves across his face. "You need to forget that name." "Dante." "Helena." He crosses the room, stops 2 feet from me, the professional distance, the careful distance he always maintains, and then crosses it. "I need you to understand something." "Then tell me." "I can't." His jaw works. "I can't tell you. That's the point. There are things about my life, about how I built what I have, that are not compatible with someone like you." "Someone like me," I repeat. "Good." The word is simple and devastating. You are genuinely, uncomplicatedly good, Helena. And this world, he gestures at the room, the house, the whole hidden architecture of his life. This world is not. The room is quiet. "I know that," I say finally. "I've always known that." "Then why are you still here?" I look at him, really look at him. The weight he carries in his shoulders. The grief he swallowed and never let out after his father died. The way he checks on Luca every single night, a ritual, a promise he made to himself in the dark and has kept without being asked. "Because Luca needs me," I say. "And because." I stop. "Because." My heart is somewhere in my throat. "Because I think maybe you do too. Even if you'd never say it." The silence between us is the loudest thing I've ever heard. And then Dante Valente, who has never asked for anything from anyone, who built his whole life on being the one who doesn't need, reaches out, and very slowly, very gently, tucks a piece of hair behind my ear. "You should be terrified of me," he says quietly. "I know. I've done things. I know." "Helena." "Dante." I hold his gaze. "I'm not asking you to be different. I'm just asking you to stop pretending you don't feel this." His hand stills at my cheek. And for the first time since I've known him, this man who controls rooms with silence and intimidates people with a glance, he looks uncertain. Then he exhales. Long. Like something he's been holding for months. "I don't know how to do this," he admits. "Any of this. I stopped letting people in a long time ago." "I know," I say softly. "I'll be patient." His forehead drops to mine. We stand like that, not kissing, not crossing any line, just breathing each other in a library full of books and grief and the quiet possibility of something new. "You're going to be the most complicated thing that's ever happened to me," he murmurs. "Good," I say. "You could use complicated." And against all odds, Dante Valente laughs. Quiet and real and nothing like the careful controlled man I met in a study 2 months ago. Luca, predictably, appears in the doorway exactly 10 seconds later, sees us, and pumps his fist in the air. Yes. Lucas, Dante says. I'm going, Luca says, already backing away. I'm literally going. Team Helena wins. I knew it. The door closes behind him. Dante looks at me. Warmth in those dark eyes, careful, tentative, new. Team Helena, he repeats. Apparently, I say. And he smiles, really smiles, and the last wall comes down. Bullseye final words to the audience. If you made it to the end of this story, then you already know, this wasn't really about a mansion or a mysterious man or a girl in a nightgown at midnight. This was about two people who were both, in their own ways, waiting for someone who would stay. Dante built walls because grief taught him that love costs everything. Helena walked into a stranger's house because she understood that some people need someone to simply show up, every day, without conditions. And between them, something real grew. Not in spite of the complications. Because of the courage it took to face them. Speech balloon life lesson. The people who seem the most guarded are often the ones who loved the most and lost it. Don't mistake someone's walls for their character. Sometimes the coldest-looking people are just the ones still learning that it's safe to be warm again. And sometimes, if you're patient, if you're brave, if you're willing to stay when the reasonable thing would be to leave, you become the reason someone's walls finally come down. Belle, if this story moved you, if it made your heart race or your chest ache or your face break into a smile, then hit that subscribe button right now. We tell stories like this every week. Stories about love that costs something, people who choose each other anyway, and the beautiful, complicated truth of what it means to let someone in. Speech balloon comment below. Are you Team Helena? Or were you holding your breath for Dante the whole time? Tell me everything. Redheart # share this with someone who needs to hear that it's okay to let their walls down. I'll see you in the next story. Don't be a stranger.